second of the one steps in the Kenpo Karate for Kids curriculum is the step through punch. And again, we're going to see it in stair steps as we go through, introducing for the first level, that yellow stripe, just simply a defensive response followed by a counter of some sort, and we're going to bring in the follow-ups and the completion of that technique. As in subsequent levels, it will grow in that sense. And when you get to the final level, you have what is actually the completed technique in its design. This one also shows up right at the beginning of our advanced form 2. So as you're practicing the form, it's also doing the technique as well. But at an initial stage here, just building it up in its defense and its follow-up counterattack. The initial defense for the last technique used this inward block. Now we're going to use an outward block. The last technique also, whipping back fist, involved in advance. You're going to move forward with an inward block. This time we're going to retreat. We're going to step back and use an outward block. So we have both that retreating and that advancing idea is introduced right away. We have the idea of this inward block in the first one. And now the outward block has been introduced, so you can have a discussion about what's the difference between inward and outward. Inward is any time your block is moving towards your center line. So if this is the center of the body, it's coming from the outside in order to cross it. Whereas the extended outward is going to come outward away from that center line, generates from the center and goes away that way. So you can introduce both those concepts, which alone for a child of like 5 years old, that's a lot to comprehend. That takes some time, that takes some practice. Older kid will pick that up no problem. Of course, an adult will see that as something that's obvious. But for a 5-year-old, that's tricky. Just understand when you say inward, you mean this. When you say outward, you mean this. When you say advance, you mean to move forward. And when you say retreat, to step back. So we introduce that stuff early there, just those initial steps. Once again, the attack's going to be a step-through punch. So again, as the instructor, you'll take kind of your fighting stance, your ready position. You give them that shout first. Ace! Let them know. And then they answer. The punch isn't going to come until they answer, so that it's safe. They don't need to feel rushed in that sense. And then when they do answer, you can step and punch with the right side. And their answer should be to step back with the right foot and use the left hand to block that punch, so that they're still on the inside of that right arm as they do the punch. And then their follow-up to this is going to be to answer with the same attack you initiated with, a step-through right punch. So, step-through punch at a yellow stripe stage is just this extended outward block, and then step and punch, and that's it. That's it. Again, steps back, blocks out, step and punch. All right, now, again, we'll have the counterattacks follow up as we get into the purple stripe stage. It'll initiate with this outward block. There'll be a step-through punch to the chin. Then, since I'm on the inside of the arms, I'm going to check down the arms and punch over the arms to the sternum. And that's the counterattack that'll come as the purple stripe stage. So you have this outward block, step-through punch, followed by a cross punch to the sternum. Now when we move up to the green stripe stage, we'll again come to the same series of one steps. So again, they'll be introduced to the step-through punch, and it will be an extended outward block, the step-through punch follow-up, and then the counter punch. And we're going to come back, and we're going to use the back of the hand here to monitor the arm with an outward back fist strike to the temple here. So now the whole thing is block with the step-through punch, cross punch, and then outward back fist. It's starting to look a lot more like alternating maces, and that's what it should look like. That's the coordination that's being built here. And then at the red stripe, the final stage, we just add one more thing. As right before we make our retreat, there's going to be a low side kick to the knee. So the whole technique together for step-through punch is step back and an extended outward block, followed by a step-through punch, check down and cross, punch, coming back with the check here, and an outward back fist. I don't want to leave that arm unattended. Come back and check it with that outward back fist. And it's a front leg side kick to the knee is the whole thing. You will also see this technique show up in our advanced form 2. So again, in practicing advanced form 2, you're also getting these steps, this technique in full is, it shows up there. So it can't be forgotten that way. That was the whole point. Once again, step through punch, steps back block, step through punch, cross punch, back this, and side kick to the knee. And that is the second technique in the Kenpo karate for kids.